yourself a comfy spot, buddy. All right, all right. Yeah, I'm not. I don't really have the energy to really like bring the anger today. Today is solely just going to be. I'm just researching some stuff. I kind of found a good topic that I want to touch on tomorrow. And just as I've barely scratched the surface, I can already see this is going to be a long fucking stream tomorrow. Oh shit, my bad. This is going to be an incredibly long stream tomorrow. So yeah, I'm just going to be like, surface level skimming while I go through all this, just kind of chilling and just looking stuff up, man. I mean, this is going to be real chill. I'm going to hang some laundry up because my poor ass can't afford to fix my dryer. So I'm going to, and I'm also doing a little bit of work too. So go ahead and my second stream for, or my second screen for chat as of right now is just my cell phone. Let me see, hold on. No, that works. That's fine. All right. It seems like that delay really isn't here. If anybody can, just throw some tips on how I can avoid this. When it seems when I first start the stream, things are in line. They're, everything's synced up properly, and then as time goes on, that sync it goes out of sync. So. It's just something that I'm gonna have to work on. I'm new at all this stuff, but as of right now, so what I'm gonna be going over is RAND. This is a think tank that that is supposed to. RAND is a think tank that's supposed to deal like specifically with foreign policy and issues that are not in the United States. And it seems as though, just through these different experiments and these few things that I've gone over, these motherfuckers have a huge, massive impact on domestic policy. I mean, it's like massive, So I'm, going through just to assess different aspects of what they've been doing. See, this is so this to me, right? Oh, that makes so much sense, bro. This is the kind of stuff that I'm going to be going over tomorrow. Funny enough, when Obama was elected for his second term, there's been a decline in education, which there's been a back and forth decline. Pretty consistently, 73 to 78. Wasn't that like most of Carter's? Carter was 72 to 80, wasn't he? Pretty sure that's because Reagan was elected in 80, I believe. I don't have anything sketchy on my computer. I just don't care. I have just work stuff basically. That's all I really have on my computer. But I do have. yeah, like I said, this is not going to be like necessarily like a super fun stream. This is really just going to be me kind of researching, and anyone jumps in the chat and can chat with y'all, and you'll watch me fucking hang my clothes up like the fucking scrub plebe that I am. That's about it, man. Okay. So, Rand's primary function. But this is essentially how I find just stuff to go through. Is I find a topic, I try to look at all angles of it, I search all angles, I find good articles, skim through them real quick, and then during the actual stream I just do full reads on everything, because during this process, I can't, and this is just for me, right? I can't, in good faith, accurately make any distinctions based on me skimming. So what I do is, instead of going into it with a preconceived notion, which I mean, I already have some, right? But I try not to portray those too much. But if I go into this and I read everything in its full context from the source, I'm not trying to read through the lines or like read between the lines or anything like that. I really genuinely think I make a good faith effort in accurately representing what these people are saying. I'm not the smartest guy on the planet, right? Like I'm honestly, like I think I'm pretty dumb, but it's interesting. Like if you use basic reading comprehension and just break things down into the pieces that they're in, without drawing like abstract conclusions from these things, you really kind of just see that they're telling you what they're doing. So Rand was like, is a research organization that develops solutions to public policy challenges and makes communities throughout the world safer and more secure. Throughout the world, see? And these are the kind of words that I always like question, right? Because like they say safer, more secure, healthier, and more prosperous, but yet as time has gone on, the world's become less safe, the world's become less secure. At least in America, we've become less healthy, and prosperous is a really fucking wild term, because especially since like COVID, I mean, there was the largest wealth transfer in human history. So there was a community that was made more prosperous, but that community was the top 1% community. And yeah, I may sound like a lefty, right? I used to be one. So bear with me. I'm going to say some things that people disagree with. But at the same time, I don't think it detracts from the actual point they're in, I do have a night job that I'm going to have to go to. So that's going to be, I'm going to be leaving probably about like hour and a half-ish. So I'm not going to be streaming for too long today. Alright, so Rand's story is a decades-long journey of invention, innovation, and improving public policy on scales large and small. There's a Russian newspaper. Nancy Nimitz. This seems like a good page. The early days, 1946. Yeah, this was, I'm pretty sure they were like anti-Soviet. And, I call into question this increase right here in 2004 because if I'm not mistaken, No Child Left Behind Act was around that time. So, (2002) was signed into law. When did it? So, just to be clear, 2 years after they lowered the standards for what education is, there was an instant increase for 8 years past that. And then at the 8-year mark, nothing but decline. At least until 2023. Okay. So, I don't want to watch any YouTube videos though. Okay. This is their history, right? So let me go back to the About Us page. I want to find, oh, there we go. Okay. See, the Rand School of Public Policy is home to the oldest and largest public policy PhD program. PhD in public policy. And these are in California and Washington, D.C. Ooh, boy. Interesting location choice. Yeah, I'm broke. Make fun of me all you want. Oh. See, and this right here is the kind of thing that makes me question. This is the kind of stuff that genuinely makes me think I should just like make a little tinfoil hat and wear that while I do this stuff, because like all I'm doing is asking questions. You know. Okay, so Rand has gotten a billion. They got over $1 billion in 5 years from 2014. Huh. See, this is the kind of stuff that they're 95% funded by the taxpayer. make sure. Yeah. To honor our commitment to transparency, we make RAND's financial statements and list of funders publicly available. I can get behind that. Okay. All right. Okay, Department of Homeland Security, almost 80 mil. The Secretary of Defense, other national security agencies, 73 mil. Department of Health and Human Services and related agencies, 67 mil. The Air Force, why is that? 38.8 mil. Okay, so 39 mil, 48 mil. Federal agencies. See, this right here, international NGOs and non-US government agencies. NGO. What amount of money are they getting from the government? All right, nonprofits, state and local government, universities, which are funded by the public sector. So that was fiscal year 2024. So and see, these are the kinds of things that can get me like real fucking riled up. And the reason being is because we're funding them to have significant influence on our public policy. Like, we're paying them money and they're deciding, I don't want to say they're deciding like everything, right? But these are unelected bureaucrats who are given, I mean, look, it's not as much as the pharmaceutical industry, goddamn, but I mean, last year, they were given almost $500 million in taxpayers' funds. This is a complete copy of Rand's financial statements. So they're giving money from other countries' tax dollars as well. Okay, so the ROC, Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Los Angeles. Okay, so that's Taiwan. It's not CCP. Okay. So see, that's why I like to look into these things before I just start shooting off at the hip and making any kind of wild claims, you know what I mean? Has that been muted this whole fucking time? Oh boy. Alright. Let me go ahead and turn this up. Okay. I know a lot of what I'm going to be saying is going to sound far away. Like I said, this is going to be a chill stream. I'm not. By the way, if you're ever in Birmingham, Alabama Peanut Company, fucking legit, dude. All right. So, Taipei Economic and Cultural Office. That's right, yes. So a lot of this is Taiwan funded. Well, I don't want to say a lot of it, right? But it's partially funded by Taiwan. Now, I'd like to look into exactly what these people kind of study. But yeah, that's coming directly from the Taiwan embassy. So, I would like to believe, yeah, that's not anything from the CCP. I could read into that further. I might choose to tomorrow, whatever. But here we go. This is where I was looking earlier. But yeah, the Ministry of National Defense from Taiwan and the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office. I don't see any like direct funding from China here, which is a breath of fresh air. But they get all sorts of funding from these fucking universities. I mean, that's like a university from almost every state. Okay. How we're funded. Most RAND research is sponsored by the U.S. federal government agencies. Yeah. So they're primarily funded by the government. I think it's... It is weird how, you know, like, now don't get me wrong. I get that stuff like this is important. But I challenge you to ask 10 people that you know, what is RAND, the think tank? And see if they even have any idea what you're talking about. To me, that's an issue, right? Like, these people, they fly under the radar. They don't talk about this in like a broad sense. I don't hear about RAND on a daily basis or anything. And to see how influential they are in our domestic policy is just a little unsettling, man. I mean, like, you know, who the fuck are these folks? You know what I mean? I'm getting all my tabs together for tomorrow. Look up like Google Trends. You know, that's a lot of this stuff is like KJP. Let's see, what is Trends saying now? Trump travel ban through the roof. España, Francia. Is that Spans and Frame? Or France and Spain. Spans and Frame, baby. Tesla stock. Where is Tesla at right now? Ooh. Yeah, I mean, bro, he came out. Why would he do that? He did this himself, bro. He made back a good portion of what dropped since like the turn of the year. I don't want to say he made back everything, but he made back a good portion of it, considering he was down to 220. You know, he made back a good portion, and then he comes out and starts talking about how Congress sucks and how they're passing this shitty bill and stuff. Of course, people are going to start selling this stock, dude. Like, you literally just inserted instability into the market. Why would you do that? It makes no sense. Okay. Do I have any viewers right now? Okay. Yeah, that was fucking stupid, man. I mean, come on, bro. You're supposed to be a genius. Like, anyway. Okay. Let's see here. All right, we already kind of looked into the funding a little bit. So fiscal year 2024, they made roughly about, how much was it? $500 million, I think. Yeah. Universities, where is universities? They made $3 million. Okay. I mean, they're a research organization, that makes sense. But experts, that's such a fucking buzzword now, bro. This was a good one. I'm definitely going to look deep into that tomorrow. This is like kind of a summary over what they were studying. There's a full report. I don't know how long that report is, but I'm definitely going to be going through a lot of this and at least possibly peeking at this full report. I think their summary of it will probably do. And then public education. That's the funding. That's the funding. Where's the history? All right, this is their history. I already had that up. Okay. Go ahead and move this over. What areas of public policy in the U.S. has Rand had influence on by topic? Yeah, they were Soviet era for sure. I try to avoid Wikipedia just because I don't trust them as much as, which is funny. I don't trust Wikipedia as much as I trust these massive corporations like Rand. I mean, it's user inserted bullshit to a large degree. This is an interesting little bit. So I grew up in Tampa Bay through the 2000s, and I saw this fucking explode around me. Oh, because as time went on, carrying out of the 90s, different states started establishing databases, inter-county databases. So what people would do, what people were doing before, and they called it doctor shopping. What they would do is they'd go to a doctor in one county and then go to a different county to a different pain doctor, different county, different pain doctor, different county, different pain doctor, different county, different pain doctor, and they would get prescriptions from all of those counties, different doctors, and they would. In some places they had like backdoor pharmacies, so you could literally walk in there with 4 prescriptions. As long as you had the money to pay for it, they'd give it to you. Or you would have to go to a pharmacy in the corresponding county in order to get your medications. But regardless, these people who would, they'd get prescribed 240 like Dilaudid 8s or 180 morphine 100s or something. Like, you'd end up walking away with literally 4 or 5 scripts of these, sometimes 1,000 pills, and Florida was one of the last states to implement that. I'm gonna leave that tab up actually. Florida inter-county database to stop doctor shopping. That's actually, I had an idea for like just a little film project called Shop. It's something that statewide database called eForce, Electronic Florida Online Reporting Controlled Substance Evaluation Program, to combat doctor shopping and prescription drug abuse. Yes, when was that established? They didn't establish it until 2011. And so at that point, I was 18 years old. Governor Scott wants to kill pill mill database. I'm pretty sure, yeah. If I'm not mistaken, it was Jeb Bush and Rick Scott, who were governors in Florida while all this stuff was happening. I'm not going along this, Republican bad, Democrat bad, whatever. These two are like hardcore establishment lackeys, dude. Like, I think what's Rick Scott's net worth? He's like up there with, he's up there with Nancy Pelosi. I mean, this guy is, and this was in 2018. His net worth was $259,663,681. Okay, now he's worth $500 million. I mean, this guy, like, there's a lot of conflicting information here. Investopedia agrees with this tracker. Yeah, I mean, like, look, it has nothing to do with party affiliation at this point. Like, these guys make insane amounts of money, and going through everything that we went through before, it completely fucking makes sense that, like, when I went through everything on the big pharma and government, it completely makes sense that he would make that much money. He was a big pharma, like, super backer. He wanted to kill the ability for people to pay for massive amounts of drugs in one state. Where was it? Where's that thing that said Rick Scott wants to kill the database. Was that? Yeah. Governor Scott wants to kill the pill mill database. Yeah. I mean, like, it totally makes sense, right? This has nothing to do with party affiliation. These people are fucking sociopaths. They're sociopaths. Like, he knew what kind of damage that was causing. Dude, my hometown was so fucking overrun with drug addicts. I became one of them. I'm not blaming them. I'm taking accountability for my own actions, right? But what I'm saying is, like, they knew this was a problem. They knew that they were turning a blind eye to these things. And they knew it was funneling money to big pharma, and these big pharma advocates, especially like Purdue, they were 100% aware. There's no way they weren't that doctors were getting kickbacks. There's no way they weren't. They had to fucking know. Like, here's the thing, right? So I'm a very practical person. I like to look at things pragmatically, right? But I've had a lot of folks who they've said to me, don't mistake incompetence for malice, I think is the way that goes. No. I don't feel that the government is incompetent at all, because with a lot of the things that the government fucks up benefits them. In some way, shape, or form financially, they benefit from the government fucking over the people of the country. See, I'm trying not to work up the rage, you know? Like, these are the kind of things I am really interested in researching. So, you know, tomorrow I'm going to take a couple, like, ibuprofen or something before I go through this, because I'm going to get all fucking... You know what I mean? So, okay. This is just a brief history. I'm getting a lot of this stuff from their own website, you know, because it doesn't... I'm not seeing... Oh, yeah, that was one. Before I digress on you... Before I digress onto a outside topic, Rand and the opioid crisis. Confronting the opioid crisis. When did this come out? I need a date, brother. So it was at least 2020. What are opioid settlement funds? What the fuck are those? Tabs on tabs on tabs on tabs on tabs. All right. Monies paid by opioid manufacturers, distributors, and pharmacies to settle lawsuits against their companies for their role in opioid crisis. $50 billion. And see, that's not going to be from people who just, like, it's not going to be from people who like me were buying that shit in the street and never got prescribed this stuff. These are settlements from people who got hurt, whether it was a car accident, slip and fall, workplace accident, whatever, and were prescribed these medications and then became fucking hopelessly addicted to them because they're hopelessly addicted, you know? Hold on, I got laundry to continue doing. So, it's tracking it. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's too much to see there. Playing a prominent role in the struggle to confront the crisis effectively. Our mission is to be a national resource fostering innovative research and opioid policy. So see, like, and this is the kind of thing here that makes me wonder, why isn't the money that's already being given to massive pharmaceutical companies that make drugs like this being utilized in research that can make drugs that will effectively help with pain resolution, but not cause mental and physical withdrawal, or I guess mental addiction and physical withdrawal, right? Because addiction and withdrawal don't always go hand in hand. Like, one is a symptom of addiction. The withdrawal is a symptom of addiction, but not all addictions have withdrawals. It's like anybody who's addicted to meth, right? They don't. At least I never got any physical withdrawals from it. Mental shit, yeah. If you want to call that a withdrawal, then yeah. I mean, it's the most fucking depressed I've ever been in my life. But anyway, so that's not really something worth like looking into. I can go into this in a later video, but I not necessarily from Rand. It really doesn't seem like Rand is doing all that much to like perpetrate it, right? Like, it seems like they actually at least study some method or form to hinder the issue. They're studying it. That doesn't mean they're doing anything about it, but they're studying it, right? So I'll give them that. Okay. What other topics? So I have public education. This is just one element of the influence they have on healthcare, but I think this is probably like what it seems like. This health insurance experiment was the largest healthcare study that they've done so far, and just has to do with like, what are the effects of multiple people paying into a massive system? Do they get better health care? What are the rates of retention when it comes to people actually sticking with these things? You know, and the conclusions are actually interesting. because they're kind of back and forth, right? Like it seems like there's somewhat of a balance of public funds going into a massive healthcare system, but from just like a brief overview, and like I said, I'm going to go into these into depth tomorrow. But from a brief overview, it does not look like the pros outweigh the cons. I don't care about Ayn Rand. Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. She's pivotal, right? But, um, all right. Let's go. That's an interesting one. Okay. Weird. See, like the AI overviews can be a little weird. It says one healthcare and then it says Section 8 housing program. That has nothing to do with healthcare. See, I don't know. I will say, I don't know why people are trashing Google search. Um, Google search has been incredibly like helpful when it comes to at least content for the channel. You know, I use it over Bing. Like fuck Google, don't get me wrong, but you know, they can do research on housing affordability, homelessness related issues, providing data, and blah 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 blah. All right, Rand Center on housing and homelessness, residential housing. So they have several different articles here. See, I want larger articles though, man. Where's the big boys? Where's the big ones? That's what I care about. About the Center Housing Research at Rand. More than 30 years, Rand has informed housing and homelessness policy and practice. Okay, for 30 years, right? Let's take the last 30 years. 1995 to, or let's go 1994 to 2024. Homelessness rates in the U.S. Okay, that's not what I asked, buddy. See, there's a downtrend from 2007 to 2022. But I'm asking from 1994. Why isn't it giving me 1994? Oh, it's gone up immensely over the past couple years. There was a general downward trend from 2007 to 2022 before increasing by 12% in 2023 and another 18 in 2024. Interesting. So there's a lot of fucking homeless people. And that number is growing. Homelessness data and trends. See, I don't use Chrome, but I only use Google search. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know. I want to see the. Give me the graph. Give me the graph. Give me the graph. What the graph? See, they have like stock graphs here that don't really tell you anything. But they don't actually have a graph for homelessness. Well, that was an 18% increase in January of 2024. No shit. 200,000 fucking people are homeless in Cali. New York, Vermont, Oregon, Washington. Shocker. Oh! DC? Dude, I thought they paid people to like move to Alaska. I know there's a bunch of drugs and stuff out there. Same with Hawaii. Like Hawaii's overrun with meth right now, but fuck, hey. That's crazy. Half of a percent, just under half of a percent of the voting bloc in California is homeless. Now, of course, those people are going to call in to vote. Because they keep getting more tax money towards that shit. I want a graph, man. I want a graph, dude. Give me a graph. Here we go. But see, by the years, it's, I want to see, why is that so hard to find? Statistics, analysis, and trends. Give me my graph. There we go. So see, like, that's the thing. I have not been able to find anything that predates 2012. That's fucking awful, dude. Woo. Shit. That's fucking crazy, bro. These homelessness rates are off the charts. See, Vermont, that kind of blows my mind. Whoa, DC is out of control, dude. Why are there so many fucking homeless people in our nation's capital? Is Florida really that bad? Unhoused. You know, when I was a homeless junkie, the thing I'd tell people was, "I'm houseless, not homeless, because home is where the heart is." All right. This is a graph I like to see, but that upward trend is tough, dude. Okay, I don't really think I could use any of this as content. I could read through all this shit, but I want to see. Oh, I need, dude. It's so hard to actually find like their studies or summaries of their studies for some of these things. View related report. This is a report on 3 Los Angeles neighborhoods. Los Angeles has California has the largest homeless population in the country. And it's kind of out of control how many fucking homeless people are there. You know what I mean? Like, it's like almost 200,000 people are living homeless in that state. That's the kind of thing that blows my mind, dude. Like, see, like, so to me, this is completely useless information because we're talking about a study done in a state that has vastly different public policy laws than other states. Now, those might be more similar in some states and differ widely in other states, but it's not like uniform policy across the country, right? So this isn't going to give me an accurate representation on homelessness throughout the entire country, just in those 3 Los Angeles neighborhoods. So that report's useless. You know, those are the... And like, I get it, right? Their main study hubs are in DC and LA. So their main study hubs are in like the highest per capita areas of homelessness. But public policy in those areas varies so fucking widely from other places in the country, right? Funny enough, like, you know, it's these like hardcore blue states, New York, California, Oregon, Seattle, DC. Well, DC's not a state, but it's highly concentrated fucking live area where there's more homeless people. And the cost of living is out of fucking control. And you know, a lot of the folks that are in those areas, they don't understand that the cost of living is much easier to navigate, or it's much cheaper in other places. Like here in Birmingham, cost of living, yes, it is going up. It's been going up all over the country, but this is nowhere near how expensive it is to live in like New York City, right? And I'm talking big city prices here. I know you go upstate New York, like, you know, outside of Albany or Syracuse, like it's going to be cheaper cost of living than being like in the city itself. I understand that, but okay, housing markets. Yeah. See right here, building multifamily housing in California is more than twice as expensive as it is in Texas. Why do you think people are fleeing in droves, right? Like, all right. This is from last year. Housing crisis explained. What Americans need to know. Is this a for winters, more at a federal level? sorry, I can speed read when I'm not reading out loud, but this is a good article. Okay, this is something I could definitely go through tomorrow. Cool. Okay, so we got the history of Rand. Definitely want to look into that. Let's move this one over here. This is their funding. This is healthcare. This is housing. That's another thing on their history. Public education. Huh? No. No. Okay. So this is all the research they've done. Now, what I want to do is, I know I just fucking exited out of that shit, but I don't really need to look into it. What I want to do is find me articles critical of Rand and their influence on domestic policy. Yeah, I'm not interested in Wikipedia or what they have to say. It's, you know, I'm not discrediting that they do have like accurate and true stuff on their website, but there's just the water is muddy. You know what I mean? Like it's they've ruined their credibility. Okay, Rand Corporation are policymakers from the Atlantic. Now, I know the Atlantic, as of recently, have completely destroyed their credibility, but it used to be a solid publication. So let's Rand Corporation are policymakers at the Atlantic. This is from, this is from 1963. Okay. Definitely going to read through this. This is back before the Atlantic was a fucking shit rag. It is no longer the publication that it used to be. This is from over 60 years ago. People have been criticizing this company. Definitely reading that bad boy. All right. Okay. Oh, I need to charge my vape, dude. Hold on. Okay. Brookings. This I'm gonna go into them as well at some point because it's another very similar to Rand. They're this like massive think tank that they have hands in our domestic policy, and just reading into these things, right? Like that's essentially what we're doing. Gun policy. Gun policy in America. Okay. Huh. Read into this. I don't. I'm a big Second Amendment guy. It looks like these now. Going through these studies, I'd like to see the sample of what states, where they're getting these things from, because see, they say thousands of studies. There's so much information there that isn't necessarily like publicly available, you know. All these different studies, what's the sample size, you know, where, and when they use these phrases like we reviewed thousands of studies, that immediately turns most people off to wanting to look into the details of each individual study, because this is thousands. And see, if this information was concrete, it would not say may decrease and it would not say may increase. They would have much more solid information on both of these, right? Like this, this is the word that you need to look at when it comes to looking into these types of things. May. Let's go ahead and look up what the definition of may is. What is the definition of the word may? Expressing possibility. Possibility. So may decrease and may increase. You can switch these out for both of them, and it may decrease, but it also that leaves open the possibility that it could increase as well. That's the words that they use on these things are just, they're very careful with how they do these things. They understand how these things can influence. Now, they use this not 100% sure information. They use this not 100% sure information to govern public policy. I mean, they have a significant influence in public policy, right? Rand Corporation influence on public policy. I'll bring this up again, just to bring the. It's a nonprofit think tank that has significantly influenced public policy in the United States and globally. It helps improve policy. This is their own words here. Where is it? See, and that's why, like, in this history, when it goes through this, the things that they're going to go through, they're going to talk about how they were established specifically to study foreign policy, defense issues, yada, yada, yada. But yet, they have a hand in our domestic policy as well. And who gave them that, right? Like, they utilize this research that they publish. Again, May. And they base policy off of that. Is that 100% of the time? I don't know. I don't think so. But that in and of itself is an issue when these people who have, from what it shows, a pretty significant amount of influence on domestic policy, legislation, yada yada, things of such, or of that type, they shouldn't have the power to be able to even promote any kind of policy based off of May. But there's no regulations on corporations like this. See, these corporations, these massive research groups and whatever, these massive research groups, they, God damn it. These massive research groups, they're the ones that are given a say in what other industries should be regulated, but yet they're not doing research on how unfettered power to be able to influence policy through words like may decrease and may increase. They're not seeing how that could negatively affect public policy. So we're going to keep that up. So I'm going to go into that one too. See, all these articles are directly from their website. I'm trying to find... Oh, The Atlantic. That's a good one. Okay. Truth decay. This is probably going to be the research that they're using to push for some form of like fact checking, misinformation. Misinformation, Institute of Truth bullshit. See, this. What's up, babe? Dinkus, good to see you, bro. I'm just tomorrow. I'm gonna be doing a video. Like the stream tomorrow is gonna be just going into like deep dive read throughs on the Rand Corporation. So the Rand Corporation is a massive think tank that has been around since the 40s, I believe, maybe 50s. But they have been attributed to having a pretty large swath of influence on our American domestic policy. So tomorrow's stream is going to be just like a look into that. You know, I got all these tabs. This is all research from their website. And it, you know, this is just them glazing themselves essentially. I don't need that tab. But I found some stuff that's decent, right? But then I've also found like some shit. You know what I mean? So like I'm gonna go into this a little deeper tomorrow. But when it comes to their review of thousands of studies that they have, the best they can say about any of this is these gun policies may decrease these outcomes, and these gun policies may increase these outcomes. So it's pretty fucking broad language, right? Like, because the word may is just the expression of possibility. I don't want to go too far onto it, but yeah. So this is I'm just going through doing quick skims. This is an Atlantic article from before they were a shit rag. So this is back in 1963. What the fuck? Yeah. So this was an article in 1963 that was written that was critical about the Rand Corporation and yeah, no, 100%, exactly. But this was an article that was written in critique of the Rand Corporation back in the 60s and the way that they already had their dirty, greasy fingers in our public policy back then. Truth decay. See, and this is the good stuff, right? So they have like this was pretty monumental. I did a little bit of skimming over this, the health insurance experiment. So this was like their conclusions are pretty wild too that they came up with this because it was essentially just an experiment on, you know, this was in the 70s, right? I'm pretty sure it was in the 70s. So this was an experiment on, yeah, in the early 70s. Okay, so this was an experiment on how like the various outcomes of like health insurance systems that where, you know, more people pay into them, how much they pay into them, yada yada yada, and what kind of outcomes they would get from that. And they found, you know, several different varying widely in the kind of outcomes they would find. So, you know, like for instance, they found that with more people paying in, they would be able to reduce medication prices, but adherence to the programs was lower, the quality of care was lower. Like the cons vastly outweighed the pros when it came to large scale multiple payer system, or would that be single payer or multiple payer? I wouldn't guess, but it's pretty just interesting stuff that came from that. Going to go into their funding. You know, they get a shitload of taxpayers' dollars, which, you know, if you've seen any of my streams before, you see like anything that taxpayers pay into from to outside agencies that influence our domestic policy is I'm vehemently against that. Stuff with the housing crisis, a lot of this. So their two locations are in LA and DC, which those two have the highest per capita concentration of homeless people in the country. And my perspective on that is they're getting their studies. It's like this was the third kind of housing study that, like, when it came to like the research and commentary on these things, it was the third one that I looked into because it looks like this is the one that isn't centered in either LA or DC. And you know, public policy in LA and DC just varies so widely from other places in the country. Public education, seeing, you know, where their hand on that was. So just I'm just going through some research right now on the corporation and finding what I can, using a little bit of AI help just to kind of like guide me in the right direction. You know, a lot of this stuff is Brookings is this is another think tank similar to Rand. Definitely gonna look into them. See, I'm not even looking up anything about Trump, and I'm still getting fucking. It might be because there's Rand. So Rand is primarily a research organization that informs policy and is not trustworthy. Well, so I don't want to necessarily say that they're 100% not trustworthy, but because it does look like they have some valid research here. But what I'm trying to find is something that can highlight the ways in which they have directly affected our policy. Because all I'm really finding here is like the studies that they've done. And like, you know, obviously these studies are used in conjunction with like lawmakers that are trying to push for a new bill or something like that, you know. What I want to see is if I can find any way that they have directly affected our public policy. And I think this is going to go into that. This old Atlantic article, because, you know, I don't like the Atlantic now, but I can't speak for where their credibility was back in 1963. And this is a critical article on the Rand Corporation. So to me, there's got to be something worth looking into there, you know. But yes, by and large, not trustworthy. I mean, like, they're obviously using like manipulative language here. May decrease, may increase, which, like, may decrease also leaves open the possibility for increase because it might decrease it. That's one possibility, but what are the other possibilities, you know? And they use just these graphs in very tricky ways that, anyway. But yes, I guess by and large, yeah. They're primarily a research organization that informs policy and is not trustworthy. I'd say by and large, yes, right? They do have, from what it looks like, some good stuff in here, especially like pertaining to the opioid crisis. And I was looking through that earlier. There wasn't too much, so it's not really something to expound on. But yes, that's by and large, that's kind of where I'm getting. So I'm looking through just to see. I was asking for articles critical on Rand, and I'm not finding a ton. Okay, here we go. Texas National Security Review. 1950s political military wargaming at the Rand Corporation. It takes us for politicians trusting and looking to Rand to inform choices and rhetoric. That link would be hard to find, but if you can find Congress or Senate quoting Rand, you will have your bazinga moments. Absolutely. Good fucking... Dude, good looking out. That's... Okay. Let's see. I just got trends up looking for stuff. This is... this was an NIH study into the history of homelessness. Like, a lot of this stuff is just, like, different avenues that I've looked into. Okay. Moral choices without moral language. There's a good history article right there. So I'm using, I was thinking about using like Gemini specifically, but I just, to a large degree, I've just been utilizing, like in Google search, the AI overviews. So like I just ask Google a question and it'll pop it up. It seems like as of right now, Gemini is the most optimal choice. I could be wrong. See, I haven't looked into like all the different AIs that are out now, because I know there's, you know, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. Absolutely, brother, 100%. Yeah, see, I'm just kind of quick streaming today and like showing the research that I'm doing, just for a chill stream. Tomorrow's gonna be a long one, but yeah, man, I would love to collab for sure, anytime, bro. Seriously. Do you have X? Gemini and Grok and cross research. Yeah, that's fucking clutch, dude. I had to. Oh yeah, fair. Well, I mean, I'm down to collab whenever, bro. If you want, you can shoot me an email on the lower class email. Dude, I get it, bro. I feel like my internet personality was just born recently, because, see, I used to just do like video game streaming over on Twitch, and that was back before like Bungie really fucking shit the bed with Destiny. So just until recently, I've started actually like getting into something that actually like interests me, you know. But I feel you. Here's a little funny tidbit. It's not funny, it's fucking scary actually, but since the establishment of Obama's second term in 2020 or 2012, our education has done nothing but like violently decrease, and that was extrapolated after 2020. Now this is only going to 2023, but things aren't looking too hot. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let me I'm definitely gonna take that advice though. When have the Senate or Congress quoted bills or quoted the Rand Corporation Institute? Go to Grok. Then are there any examples of the Senate or Congress at large quoting the Rand Corporation research or just using their research to support the passing of bills in the That word did a lot of heavy lifting there, buddy. Yeah. Yeah. No shit, brother. That's a big one. While no specific bill is named as passing solely due to this research, the funding allocation reflects Congress's reliance on Rand's objective data to shape policy discussions. And this is like directly talking about gun policy research. They're saying objective data to shape policy discussions. My question is, why the fuck does may decrease or may increase something that is not 100% set in fucking stone? Why would that ever be used to develop policy at the legislative level? That's fucking crazy to me, bro. Veterans' mental health and the invisible wounds of war. CFC ban. It is interesting to me. I'm not a chemist or anything. So I can't speak on this from any point of like, you know, prior knowledge or anything. Soft science, yes. 100%. Soft science trying to make hard conclusions. Yes. Yeah, so Abe, I got a bunch of friends that are military, and they've just told me some fucking terrible stories about these guys that'll they'll go overseas and they'll get TBIs and then come back, and the Army will give them like one fat check, a pat on the back, and go, hey man, McDonald's is hiring, you know? And it's fucking crazy, dude. I'm a big pro-military guy. I am anti-war, but I'm not anti-military at all. I mean, they wouldn't fucking accept me, so. Now, granted, that was back in 2011. It was like right before the Arab Spring, but it didn't seem like we really had anything going on back then. Really? Well, bro, thank you for your service, man. Seriously. Were you able to work things out with him? Yeah, yeah. No, dude, I want to hear it, bro. 100%. I bet you fucking could, dude. I, I bet you could. See, it's crazy. Like, I've been surrounded by military people. Oh, fuck, bro. Fallujah? Jesus Christ. Here, hold on. I'm getting a call. What's going on, dude?
Brody, I am so sorry to bother you, and this is so random, but only if you can, and it's something that's going to take you 1 minute. Do you have an extra paper roll of toilet paper? And tomorrow when I buy, I'll give it back to you.
Nah, bro. I got a box of like fucking 40 of them I got from Sam's Club. I'll just give you a couple rolls, man. You're good. Don't worry about it.
I just need one, and tomorrow I'm off, and I'm gonna go shopping for it.
Yeah, you ain't got to give it back, bro. You can just have it.
Okay, you can throw it from your balcony if you want. I'm right here. I saw your car. That's the person I thought of.
You're down by your truck?
Yeah.
Here, give me just a second, bro. I got you.
Thank you, bro.
No problem, man. Peace. Sorry, that was my neighbor. Give me just a sec. Yo. Gonna have to come through the trees, bro. Yeah, man, don't worry about it. You don't know me nothing, dude. Yeah, dude, it's a roll of TP. It's fine. You're a lifesaver, dude. No problem, man. Come on, Bubba. Get in here. Hey, come on. Come on. Get in here. Buddy. Let's go. Come on. No, Charlie. Charlie, it's just Carlos, man. Come on. Let's go. Oh. All right. Oh. That's it. Whatever. Whatever. Charlie, relax, bro. Chill. It's gonna be all right. My bad, dude. Holy fucking shit, cuz. Sorry, I'm just seeing your you were USMC in Fallujah. Man. You saw the absolute worst of it then. I mean, you guys were the first guys in. That was, I can't, like, I'm operating solely off of anecdotal knowledge here, because like I said, I'm not military, never have been. I just know a lot of guys who have been, but that was the worst of it. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. Good boy. Good boy. Hey, come here, Bubba. Come on. I want to keep that up. I can't fucking imagine, bro. I can't even begin to imagine. Oh shit, it's almost 3:30. I gotta go to my night job. I'm about to get ready for that. Hey, dude, thank you for coming in. Good talks, man. I'm definitely down to collab, dude. If you ever like, I have a few ideas on just different things to go through for these. So if you ever want to collab on something, you have a good idea on something you want to look into, and we can read into and fucking spit some sense on top of it, whether it's 2 or 5 or 10, you know. Just let me know. I mean, reach out in any way. You can email me here. You too, bro. I appreciate it, man. You have a great night, and I'll probably see you on one of the streams, bro. I'll give you a shout. Have a good night.